what I really want to do is just kind of share with you guys just some ways or tools or techniques that I did to kind of get over my personal fear of boas. So let's get down to it. Hey, what's up fam? It's Blkhippiee here, and with you guys to a new video. I just wanted to kind of go over how I personally got over my fear of boas. So maybe you're in the market looking for a boa, or maybe you have a boa and you're just like having issues, like you're afraid of them, right? So this is Kiki. Kiki's probably like almost a year old, maybe like 10 months to a year old, and so she's pretty, she's a pretty good size, and she's super docile. So, all right, cool. So like I was just saying before, I kind of grew up more with like ball pythons. I would hang out, a lot of my friends had ball pythons. Like none of them had boas except for one of my friends. And his boa was actually like really defensive. Like he didn't spend any time with his boa. So I've always had this like kind of negative perception of boas. Even when I was a kid, I go to like the pet store, and that's like the one snake they wouldn't let me hold was the back then they called it red tail, but I'm sure it was just some type of BCI, like a normal BCI or some sort. Anyways, like, I always just kind of had this like irrational fear of boas. But funny, my first snake I had in my collection was a ball python, and that ball python was really defensive. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, if ball pythons can be defensive, like why not try to go with the boa, So Kiki here was my first boa that I had in my collection. I got her, she was super tiny. I'll probably show some footage of that here. So you haven't subscribed yet? Like, what are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscription button. Stop playing around. But yeah, so she was really small, tiny little worm. And now, as you can see, she's bigger. I got her back in, I got her like in like June. Yeah, so like June 2020, I got her. So it's been a while. But hands down, like really cool snake. So how did I get over my fear? The first thing I did was did a lot of research, obviously, talked to a lot of different breeders and people who have them as pets, and just really wanted to understand like from their perspective, like how their behavior is. And pretty much everyone I talked to said the same thing. It's like they're pretty much like gentle puppies. And I was just like, I was shocked. I was like, what? Like everyone was saying that. So I went ahead and I believed it. So the next step I did was I actually started going to like reptile stores and actually trying to handle them. So I went to several different stores, and they had babies, and I would just ask the dudes who worked there, or ladies, whatever, be like, hey, like, do you mind if I hold them, check them out? And so that was like the first time I really ever handled like boas before, and it was kind of cool because it was like under their supervision. So I didn't feel like too nervous, but I was a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Long story short, I held like some adults, I held some babies, and I just totally got comfortable with them to a point that I felt comfortable enough to actually buy one, and that's when I got Kiki here. So they sold her to me as an albino. call line, and she was $400. And so coming from a ball python, my ball python I think was like $100, and that was even kind of overpriced. But you know, spending 400 for, you know, a boa, I was just like, wow, am I doing the right thing here? You know, fast forward months later, heck yeah, man, like she's totally worth it. I would say worth even more than that. Such an awesome snake. But you know, like when I first got her, I totally was afraid to handle her, because the same thing kind of happened with my ball python. When he was in the store and I was handling him, he was totally fine, you know. It was once we got home, and it was like after like 2 weeks, whatever, I didn't touch him. You know, he ate for me one of those weeks, and then the second week, oh, he ate for me 2 weeks, whatever. And so, long story short, I tried handling him, and dude was like really like feisty and super defensive, would hiss, would try to bite. Long story short, he's a lot better now. You know, I handle all my snakes a lot, and so like they're all docile. But anyways, back to boas specifically. Like I said, this was my first boa, and she's doing really well. But you know, there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to boas. They're really slow, chill, methodical like snakes. Like they're not gonna move fast like a colubrid, or you know, other snakes that are pretty quick. She's like, they're really slow. Only time they'll kind of move fast is unless like they're falling or slipping, then they'll try to like catch themselves. But for the most part, they're like just slow, they're chill. You know, they adventure, they're quite adventurous. Like she likes to go in my hair. It's kind of funny. But yeah, so just to answer your question, because a lot of people ask me all the time, they're like, hey, like, you know, what's their temperament like? And so that's why today I just really wanted to kind of do a video on just kind of how I got over my initial fear of these particular species of snakes. You know, like I said, these dudes were more chill and docile than my ball python was. And I'm not crapping on ball pythons at all. I think ball pythons are cool. I think, you know, different strokes for different folks. Like some people are gonna like other species more than others, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, but yeah, so like getting over my fear of, you know, them, I would just handle them like every day. Like once after you're at once you finish the 2 week period where they're acclimating into their environment, you know, then that's like when you can start handling them. And I would just always kind of do like, you know, like 5-minute sessions, and just however long they felt comfortable to go for it. And so yeah, I would just pretty much let them do their thing. I would always like just like kind of chill on the couch, like maybe like watch like Netflix or a show, and then, you know, just like pretty much like handle them, you know, pretty much like be the warm tree, as they say. And, you know, make sure you don't put your hands dangling in front of their face, like comments and stuff like that, and you should be totally fine, man. Like these snakes are really cool. You know, they reach a pretty decent size. And like I said, like they're docile. They're slow growers, so it's not like you're gonna wake up one day and you're gonna have this like huge, you know, 7-foot, 8-foot snake. You know, it takes a long time for them to even reach that size. Also, it depends on how often you're feeding them. So if you feed them like, you know, I feed her like once every like 10 to 14 days, and I feed her adult mice. And so that's why her size is pretty like manageable. I've seen like some boas that were, you know, that are fed like rats, and they're about a year old too, and they're way bigger. I mean, they're huge, and that's just because of what they're being fed. So, you know, you do have control over that. And I'm not saying to starve your animal. It's just that a lot of people tend to overfeed them. Like they shouldn't be eating that much, as they're not like hunting for food. So my point is that they're not exercising to that point where they need to be eating as well, consuming a lot of food. So it's kind of hard for them to burn all that fat. Anyways, side note. So, like I said, they're super adventurous. My whole point with the story, or what I'm trying to share with you guys, is that like it's totally doable. You don't have to be afraid. I was afraid, I'm not even gonna lie, but it's so silly, it feels irrational. You know, so far from that, like those days. You know, boas are just like awesome. I have 3 boas now because, you know, I'm a huge fan of them. And so what I realized that, once again, this was like an irrational fear. What's kind of cool is you can think about in ways in real life and how it also reflects in the real world. You know, when you're kind of irrationally afraid of things, you know, whether it be change, whether it be a new career, it be anything. Like, I feel like snakes have really taught me how to handle my fears. And so that's all I really want to share with you guys, is that like, if you're having issues with like fear, or like you're having issues with like handling your snake, you know, just keep practicing at it. Keep trying, you know, always end each handle session on a positive note. You always want to be in control. Like, I don't know, like she was kind of slipping there, and just for her safety, you gotta, you know, re-control her. But you can kind of see how long she is right now. She's, I would say, probably, oh, let's see how long she is. I would say maybe a foot, maybe like 2.5 feet, you know. She's definitely due for an enclosure upgrade pretty soon. But yeah, she's doing really well. What are you trying to tease upon? So just trying to understand like their body language. You'll get used to that. But yeah, you know, don't be afraid. Keep trying. Some things that can help, you know, like I said, like wearing gloves, like that could help. I personally didn't really wear gloves with her. Didn't really need to. You can wear like a sweater or something like that, just to kind of make you feel a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, these snakes aren't really gonna like bite you or try to attack you unless you smell like a rat or a mouse or something like that. And that's a different situation. You don't want that situation. So always, you know, have some, you know, hand sanitizer, like, you know, in your room. Always have hand sanitizer on deck. Even in case if you were accidentally bit, and if it was like a hunger bite, they will wrap around you. That's like any snake. So word of advice, if for some reason you were handling a rat or a mouse and you forgot to wash your hands, and then you're handling your snake, and then your snake mistakes your hand for food, the best thing to do to get out of that situation is just to put a little hand sanitizer in the side of their mouth, right? So just put a little hand sanitizer in the side of their mouth, and they will release instantly, as they hate that taste. And so you put a little water, rinse it out, and they're good to go. They didn't mean it. They know immediately that they grabbed the wrong thing, typically. So, you know, it's not their fault. Most times people get bit. It's sad to say, but it's typically their fault. So anyways, that's that, fam. You got this. You can do it. If you're interested in boas, I say give it a try, give it a shot. You know, like I said before, visit a local pet shop. You know, and maybe, you know, there you can hold one that they have that's already friendly. Like maybe they have one that's already kind of docile that they work with, just so that you can get your feet wet and just kind of get the understanding of them. Like I said, they're beautiful creatures. They're really cool. They're not nearly as bad or scary as people make them seem to be. And they make great pets. Like I said, they reach a really cool size, you know, and they're just cool snakes. There's so many different morphs too. So this here, she's an albino, like I said before. So she has like really cool like orange on her. Like I said, there's so many different morphs of these guys and girls. But yeah, so that does it, fam. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Okay, so thanks for watching. Until next time, Blkhippiee out. Much love. Peace.